I will also record in this computer. Well, perfect. It's good to see you again. So in this second lecture about the right to family and specifically right to home. I think that probably could be an old right, mostly called the right to housing. But now there are so many things that are new, as we will see. So let me share. Yeah, okay, perfect. So we can see here, well, more or less what will be about our lecture of today. That is obviously about the right to home, but a comparison between the right to housing and the right to home. By the way, in many books, in many articles, you will find like that is the same. Is the same. Normally, when people talk about the right to home, they talk exactly the same things about the right to housing. But in any case, I think that you know very well that house and home is not exactly the same in the language. It's a little different. So that's why I want to organize the lecture of today, a short lecture should be, in three specific points. The first one, the basic notions. You have to begin now to try to think what is a home and what is a house. You will find something for sure. No? Then we will see some treaties, some international human rights declarations that talk about the right to housing principally. And finally, we will see if there is some difference or not in the right to home, and that which will be. More or less, this will be the scheme of today, and we can begin with this. So, with the basic notions. So, I don't know, what do you think about this? What is a home? Can we say that this is a home? If you want to mention anything here or in the chat, it will be great, because in this way we can well, create more. I will not be just the one who talks. Okay, perfect. Do you think that that house is a home or a house? I don't know. Probably a house, yes. No, a house for puppies, for toys. Yeah, so many things. No? I will put you some photos, and you have to tell me what do you consider, if this is a home or not, and what should include a home. That is an important question. So let's continue. What is a home? What is a home? Do you think that this is a home? The second picture, probably at the end of the street you can find something, but in the street, no. And why not? Or yes? I don't know. What do you think? Anyone wants to try? Why the people in the street is a home or not? This could be a house. This one at your left, and the other probably. Well, there is a family, and a family is a home. Yes or no? You have to think about this, no? We can ask the same, no? Is this a home or the slums? No, the slums. People living well, as they can, is this a home or not? Because that is an important question, no? Because in many constitutions around the world, many human rights treaties, you have everyone has the right to housing, and if you provide this, you can say, well, it's done. The state fulfills perfectly the international human rights treaties, and we don't have to do any more because this is a home, they have a home. Okay, so it's a home. Well, I'm seeing, I see in the chat that you say yes, but let's continue. Seems to be. What about this house at your right? The last one. Is this a home? You can see that it's perfect. So many things. Furniture, paintings, very well painted in white. Is that a home or not? I will say that at your left you find more a home than at your right, because there is no family members. Home is something deeper. It's not just a house with a lot of things. It's not just an office. I don't know if you agree. It could be beautiful, that house, but that is a home. Probably more the people at your left, you can find there as a home, and not at your right. No, that could be beautiful, no, as you say, but and this in this coronavirus time, I don't know if this kind of measure you can find in your homes, into your four-wall homes. I don't know, probably yes. This is quite interesting. This is quite interesting to analyze. Why? Because one of the etymological notions of house, casa, in Latin, is home is the place where you keep the tools. The place where you keep the tools. Quite interesting. The place where you keep the tools. Your tools, no? Your tools for life, for survive, for everything that you need. That is a house. In Spanish and in Latin, they use the same word for home and house, more or less. In English, you have the difference. And you have here, in the last photo, the tools. So etymologically, that is a house, something more, a home, because you keep your things there. Quite interesting, but seems to be that is not a home. Why? Probably, why? I don't know if you have any answer. Why it's not so clear a home, or yes, or whatever you think about this. No? So, and what about this? A flock of sheep with that guy ahead of them. Is that a home for the sheep? Probably yes, because they used to live there, walking on the grass. For the dog, probably that is not a home. But for that guy, I don't know, what do you think? There are so many guys, as you know, here in Kenya that used to live like that. Probably they sleep well, in the same place, not in a cover, not in with a shed above their heads. So, but that is a home. That is a home. I want to put the whole questions now because we will see everything later, but I want to try to think about this. And if you want to write in the chat, quite nice will be. The most interesting thing that I found in the National Museum of Nairobi, that is so close to you, is that picture. I don't know if you know this picture, what is about. Is the tools of a nomad walking with their tools from one place to another, because as you know, nomads don't have a specific place to stay. They used to walk with many times with their sheep or the flock or the community many times also, but they don't stop, they don't stay in some specific place. Well, is that a home? Can we say that nomads have a home? What do you think? For me, it was so clear with the etymological notion of home, the place where you put your tools. They are working with their tools. You can find everything there. Incredible, no? They are working with all their tools. So yes, probably with the etymological notion of home, that will be a home. That is quite interesting because the human rights treaties never consider these kind of things as a home. In some sense, they include now in the last years the cultural notion of home or principally of housing, according to each culture. But I will put another question just to consider about this. No? Is this a home? We will say, no, this is a homeless, precisely a homeless. But think about this, no? Used to put also the tools there. So we will find here that, yes, normally in the jurisprudence, in the case law of the International Human Rights Courts, they say, no, these have no home, are homeless, precisely. Although they have their tools, well, probably because in no space. But what is the difference with the nomads, the homeless and the nomads? I don't know if you can consider any difference or is the same. Both are the same, both, or and what do you think? What is specifically the difference between the nomads and the homeless? No one want to try. Yeah, the worst of any time is in the afternoon after the lunch. Well, probably the nomads have their land. Choice, yeah, probably it could be choice, but nomads have their land. They have something. Homeless, they didn't have something. They have a big land, probably, to walk there. And they consider that is their land, a kind of property, a kind of relationship, a deep relationship with that places, to that places. So as you can see, it's quite different. I don't know if that guy that is sleeping there consider the bridge as his own home. Probably no, because yeah, it's a public place. It's quite interesting to compare. No? Finally, there are things that are so easy to call home, no? Like this or not. Seems to be well so pretty, but probably could be a hotel. Is a hotel a home, a house? A house of course, yes. And a home, what about that? So why I'm putting so many pictures? Just to realize that probably many things you think, no, it's quite easy, and it's not. I would say. The house, some concept home, as I told you, and there is a word that comes from Latin, and also in Spanish, I think that in French also, and in Italian is the same, casa. So, house, no? The place where the person and his things are kept. I'm adding just one thing, no, not just the tools, not just the instruments, but also all the things of the person, and the person it's oneself. Ourselves we kept in our home. Yeah. When it's night, we have to go to our home to sleep there. No? We keep ourselves there. That is quite deep. I don't know if you realize that is quite interesting too. Well, we are going from the philosophical questions to the roots of the issues, of the problems about the right to home. So, what it includes? So many things. First, the family or people who host the person. That is quite deep, no? The family hosts ourselves, no? More than four walls is our family that keeps us. So from whom what is necessary to live, growth, and be free. There we can be free in our family, principally, and with our people. Probably many times there is not a blood connection, but another a friend connection many times. No? It's the place where the person stays and make this his own to protect and feed himself. Yeah, as you know, no, the place. Well, it could be in that sense, in that second sense, a hotel. Yeah, a motel also. No, you are there just for a night, and you keep yourself from the storm, for example, no, for just for one night. And finally, the place where the person keeps her or his things, mainly the most intimate ones, no? Not just the, I don't know, you put your bicycle there, but also the most intimate and very the private things you can put there. So as you can see, there are so many things that can be considered home or house. That's why I say that a home or house also is an analogous term that admits many meanings, not just one. So it can be a cradle, and you can find in many dictionaries, no? The cradle of each one and those who cradled him. No? For example, the place of origin. Where is my? I'm from the house of the Riofrio, because my last name is Riofrio. I'm from the house of, I don't know, of Colombia, because I have a family there. Yeah, you heard more or less similar expressions in every language. The home, the family, the people that protects you, and you feel safe in their arms. And the dwelling also, no? The dwelling, the place where the individual lives and rests and store his things. Probably could be a cave also, no? Just a shed could be, and you put yourself there and go. But there is a domicile, there is a many language and in many legal systems around the world. It's so important to distinguish everyone. Domicile, you want to live there for your whole life or for long time. For a long time. There is a specific intention of staying and organizing all. Instead of that, the residence is a temporal dwelling, and finally, it could be a simple house to keep materials as a warehouse. No? as you can see. Finally, nowadays with internet, we have a new notion of home or house, or it's called more hosting, no? The digital hosting. In many languages, also casa, also, no? Or dwelling. You can use many words to say in many languages the same thing, but it's more or less the same concept. To put your tools there, and not just your tools, but yourselves too. All the information that is private of yourselves there, you can put in your Gmail account, for example. No, is a kind of hosting, no? A kind of home, because you are putting yourself and your tools there. That is quite interesting, no? The new ideas. Well, so after seeing the first part, that was the basic notion, just to distinguish and to see that so many things could be there in the same words, house and home. So let's begin with the right to housing. Why? Because you can find this in many declarations of human rights. The first one, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So you can see that in Article 25, there is a provision that says everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for health, well-being of themselves and of his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care, and so on. That is quite interesting. I don't know if you realize that there are so many things in the same paragraph linked absolutely between them. Absolutely linked. There is a theory on human rights that says that all the economic, social, and cultural rights are interdependent. One cannot exist without the second one, or the third one, or the other. Economic, social, and cultural rights. It is quite interesting, that theory, no? And that's why one first idea, legal idea, no? Probably the right to home and to housing cannot exist, cannot subsist without other rights. For example, the right related to his family, or the well-being, or health. And indeed, so many case law of the human rights court of Europe, Americas, well, and many other places around the world says that, no? And used to attach quite deep the right to home to some other rights. We will see. So the same thing we can find in another provisions of, for example, the Convention on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. So in Article 5, we can read, no? The compliance with the fundamental obligation laid down in Article 2 of this convention prohibits to eliminate racial discrimination and many other things, no? In particular, there should be guarantee the enjoyment of the following rights. And there is a big list of the economic, social, and cultural rights. And at the end, the right to housing. So this is quite related with the elimination of racial discrimination. As you can see, another right connected, interdependent. So the same thing that you can find in the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. And this is quite interesting, the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Why is quite interesting. Probably you can find more or less the same words. No, you can say we should provide children material assistance and support programs, particularly with regard to nutrition, clothing, and housing. In particular, why in particular to children? You will guess that easily. Well, because they need more protection. Yeah, they need more a house. They need even more a home, not just a house. They need even more a home because they have to keep themselves to survive. No, it's a matter of survive in this life. No, an infant, a very little child cannot survive without his parents. No? Well, it's quite interesting. They will need more the home. Many other things, also nutrition, the same words that we read there. No? And finally, finally in the International Declaration on Human Rights, the protection of the right and all migrants works. So another convention, in Article 43, you can see many other rights that migrant workers shall enjoy equality of treatment with nationals of the state in relation to access to housing, including, that is quite interesting. This is especially interesting because it puts into the right to housing the access first and the social housing schemes. Now, the policies that the state should take to give or to guarantee the housing of these people, and protection against exploitation in respect of rents. One specific things that is also in some constitutions, no? In so many laws also. So as you can see, all of them, all of the treaties used to put together many rights. Most of the times, the right to housing is not alone; it's with many other rights. No, it's the theory of interdependence. You harm one, you harm all of them. So close that you cannot harm just one. If you harm one, you harm. If you protect one, you will protect more the others. So several constitutions around the world, that one of Belgium, South Africa, you have also close here, Uruguay, used to provide some specific protection to an adequate housing. And another just put a policy, a general policy that the state should ensure adequate housing and living conditions for all. I don't know if you remember your constitution here in Kenya. In the point 43, at the very beginning, no? You can read this. Every person has the right, and that is quite interesting, no? Because there is a lot of things together. No? First, the highest attainable standard of health, which include the right of health care service, including reproductive health care, to accessible and adequate housing, and to reasonable standards of sanitation. So here it's linked the right to housing with sanitation, the standard of sanitation. It's not just to have a shed to live there in a slum. No, it's also a matter of some level of quality, some judgment used to say with dignity. No? It's not so used in the Anglo-Saxon world, in the in the French, German, and Spaniards countries, you will see the countries that they speak Spanish, well, use it a lot, that word, many times without no sense, but in any case, it means that what you have is not just to give a shed, it's more than that, to give some standards of living. That's why the first one that we read was the Universal Declaration, no? That began, I don't know if you remember how it began, with the standard of living. One part of the standard of living is the right to home. It's just one part. It's quite interesting. You have more or less more linked to the standards of sanitation, not to all of standard of living. But in any case, it's quite related. Okay, so one interesting question is this one. Is the right to housing a basic need? I don't know if you think that is a basic need or not. Yes. And why? Perfect, Florence. But why? Probably we can ask for some help to the giraffe. He's my friend, the giraffe. Many times I ask the giraffe to come to my lectures because the giraffe will help us, for example, to make some questions. What are the basic needs? That is an interesting question of the giraffe. What are the basic needs? How many basic needs can you remember or you consider that could be? You can put a lot. I put in the past in Google basic needs to see what is really basic, no? And I found a lot of things. Can you imagine just one? Probably I will say this is just answers from Google on the giraffe. Well, university, in case of disabilities, some health, housing, but transportation also, and some food. Yeah, to survive. Yeah, probably could be, but probably you don't need the university to survive. It's really the university a basic need, isn't it? So, and the transportation, probably you don't need a bus to survive, matatu to survive. And there is another answer here, no? The ideal, the physical needs, the sensual needs. So if I don't have a wife, I cannot survive. I don't know, it seems to be that an action and a social, I need the whole society for survival. Well, probably Robinson Crusoe didn't need that. So you can find a lot of needs on internet. Here, another answer, no? Money, you need money. You need another person, healthcare, also the university, education, house, clothes, food, a car. So I don't know if you consider all of them basic needs. Or well, once again, an apple here, electricity. What do you think? Electricity, light, power is a basic need, isn't it? I don't know. Many people say yes today. It's a basic need, a basic service that you should be provided. And there are some case law that put in the right to home, and they include there should be a light power. Because if you don't have this, you cannot survive, could be. I don't know. Another thing, well, health, once again, housing, emotional support. If you don't have someone to cry with him, you cannot survive. Yeah, that's Mercy said. I don't think on the electricity. Yeah, probably not for survive, but this is a basic need. In most constitutions, electricity, well, not all of them, but in some of them, they put that as a basic service. It's a basic service, a basic need. If not, what kind of basic is? Well, the giraffe is excited with these questions. So, food, water. It's incredible. It's incredible. In Google, most of the time, never appears water. Water. And it's clear that if we don't drink water in a week, we will be dead. So that is a basic need for survival, more than electricity. That is quite interesting. Family also, no? Friends. Well, we can add so many, but in any case, as you can see, it's not so clear what is a basic need. And what is so important, the question on human rights, because you have to protect first the survival things, the survival needs, and then you can have many other rights and many other protections, but you cannot, for example, give money to the dead, to the people that are in the cemetery. No? Now, first you have to protect the life, and then you can protect many other things. There is an order. So there are so many questions. No? You have asked, but what are the really basic needs? So there is a guy called Maslow. Maslow said there are some really basic things. No? For example, air. If you don't have air, probably in half an hour you cannot survive. And if you don't have air for 5 minutes, you will have a lot of problem in your brain. Probably you will never be the same. Water also, to sleep. You need to sleep. Food. You can a month without eating something, it's impossible to survive. A shelter, yeah, probably is a need. Clothing, yes or not? Well, probably here in Kenya there is not that need, but in the North Pole, where everything is ice, if you don't have clothes, you will die instantly. I think that more or less in 2 minutes, or yeah, they are so cold. And so, and safety also, no? Some safety. If you walk in the street and anyone can kill you, you will have no right at all. No. Something else asked the giraffe. Yes. Which one? I don't know if you remember. This is not in the international treaties of human rights, but in some case law. Restrooms. There was a case law of, let's say, if you need to do this, and the county don't provide to you the house or the restrooms, the public restroom, people can do anything wherever they want in the street. Or that is interesting. There is also another judgment in the north of Europe, in Hungary, that says the state cannot ban people to sleep in the streets. There is a second case. Why? Because if the state don't provide the policies to have a good shelter, and to each one, what the people will do? Will try to do their best. No, poor beggars. They are banned in many places around the world. And there are laws that say, no, you cannot sleep here, you cannot urinate in the street, you cannot do this and this, and so they cannot exist. Well, we have to say, well, first the state should take care of them, and the whole society, not just the state. That is important. Many times in many countries, as my country used to say, no, the state should do that. No, there are other countries that realize, no, I'm part of the state. Part of the responsibility is mine. No? So that is important to know. Well, so tell me more about water. I'm thirsty, so we can give a drink to the giraffe and we can continue. There is a lot of judgment and case law about what is the right to water. No, it's a mere commodity. No, people need water to subsist, to exist. No, so they used to put many characteristics. For example, availability. There should be a sufficient water, not just to drink, but also for sanitation, washing, and many other things. A good water with good quality, not so dirty, free from microorganisms and other chemical substance and radiation, the accessibility to have. There is some case that say this is quite related to the right to home. No? You should have this at least walking from your house or your home, walking not 3 hours, should be with a short time walking, short time walk. You should have this. And they used to include the water in the right to home or to housing. That is quite interesting. So physical access, economic access also. If you have to pay your whole salary, well, you don't have the right. No? With not discrimination, there is a lot of discrimination in some places or in the world, and information access. So the giraffe is happy with the water. So wait a minute. Are not these characteristics the same as the right to housing? Yes, they are. Which one are the characteristics of the right to housing? Well, many. There is specifically two comments, general comments of the Committee on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the number 4 and number 7. That's it. There are some core elements of the right to housing. So, non-forced eviction, security, availability of service, material infrastructure, good material and infrastructure, well, facilities, to food storage, and in case of emergencies, well, to have some provision, some security, affordability, more or less is the same as you can see, no? That you can pay that. Accessibility more or less related to the water, as you can. The cultural adequacy, we mentioned something of that in the case of numbers. We will see a little more at the end of this lesson. The habitability, no? Yeah, if the weather is so cold, there should be a very big walls to protect you from the ice, you know? And if the weather is too hot, will be another kind of structure. Well, and protection against forced eviction, displacement. You have at least 2 or 3 cases here in Kenya of displacements. For sure, you will remember now. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and also there was a second. Some communities and the High Court ruled the policies of the government say, well, you cannot displace people, no, without living place to live, some home. You cannot take their homes as that. No? Many times with good reason, because we want to have a national park to protect the species. Yeah, but what about the principal species, the human species? Yeah, so the giraffe is saying us goodbye. So one is we can, but you have more or less the same in the Amazon. This is the Amazon, the river with more water in the world, because here is here you can find the Andean mountains, and that's why all the rain that appears here cannot go to the Pacific Ocean, should go to the other ocean, and that's why it's so big with so much water, the Amazon. So in the Amazon, you can find many people that many times don't have any kind of clothes at all, and the homes, the houses are very basic. Here in this house, they can live 20, 30 people in the same house. There is not rooms, as you can see, with a lot of problems of any kind that you can imagine. Many times the worst part is for women. They suffer a lot there. Well, so what about the right to home? At least the right to the survival things, needs of everyone in the world. Well, probably they will have water, food, probably yes. Security, not so much. There is a lot of insecurity also with animals there. Clothes, they don't have clothes. Health, they used to live 10 years less than the average of the population. They have a kind of shed, yes, but probably not a good shed. They don't have any privacy at all. Well, it's a way of living, yes, they can improve more. What the people should do, I don't know. That is a question. Many times, well, to give all the electricity. What about electricity? Light power. So it is not so easy to resolve how the state should recognize all these kind of rights. No? Many times, if you put the same people in another place, they will say, no, this is a displacement against human rights. Well, and if you leave them there, there will be another group of people. The ecologists say, no, you're destroying, harming the Amazon and the species. And, but there is a lot of issues. But it's good to understand with this that many times the rights just began with one case with the most needed, the survival need, and then little by little they increase the protections to some other areas. So once again, the giraffe, there are not giraffe there. So it's just that home, just a shed to live with 30 people in any circumstance. No, seems to be that there is something more. So that's why we can think bigger. We can remember the first part of the lecture, the basic notions, and the right to housing. We have seen that. But with the basic notions, let's try to improve the notion of right to home, that is also quite linked. No? So for that, let's go again with this. No? What is home? We said is where we keep our things, or tools, or instruments. Should these rights should be singularized? I think so, but in which way? In which way? That is the question that I want to solve in the lecture of today. What things can include that are not in the right to housing. Well, we can say the house, yeah, it is included. No? The home more or less is related to one house. No? More or less is related. No? To home, obviously, to a dwelling also, yeah, it's related to the traditional land in this case. That's why I am showing you this picture, no? Of one nomad community. The traditional land. This is not well related to the right to home, and you think the right to housing, but the right to home will be time. That is something new. Time to share with your loved ones, with your close people, with your siblings, with your family, with all of them. It is because remember, home is more than 4 walls. It's also the people that are close with which you live in the same place. Time to share with them. This is also home, no? And family unity also is part of your family. If there is no unity in your family, you have no home. You have no place to live, to grow, to be free, to be yourself. This is quite interesting. So there is a new dimension probably developed with this right. So now I think that you let me see, share some. Yeah, you will hear one song that is. There are many songs about the home. So let's hear this one.
Mama said home is where the heart is. When I left that town, I made it all the way to West Virginia, and that's where my heart found exactly where I'm supposed to be. It didn't take much time. It's just south of the Mason-Dixon line. It's just south.
As you can see, there are many songs about the home, no? But this is quite interesting, no? Home is where the heart is, no? Where you place your heart, where the nomads play their hearts. No, it's also the land. That's why the homeless, they don't put their heart in the bridge. We cannot say that they have a home, because they have tools and they have a bag probably for their tools, but they don't have home because they don't put their heart in the bridge. Yeah. Well, that is quite interesting, no? So you have to protect not just the walls, not just a beautiful house, but a place to be free, to give some freedom to the guy, and it's especially with the family also. Let's hear another song that is related. What about things, for example, in Islam? In Islam, walls are not so heavy there, no? Just metallic walls. But many times, well, people consider more there that these metal walls are my home than rich people consider the strong walls and very good, beautiful houses their home. No? They feel that they don't have home. Why? With so much problems, economical problems, poverty. So, because probably because
settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble it might drag you down. You get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. gonna make this place your home.
Last line is the most important one. Make this place your home. Have created a home. If you have love, you will have a home. Even with not the best place in the world, you can create the worst place in the world as your home. To give loving ones a home. That is quite interesting because quite deep, because there is something more than just to protect welfare, just to protect beautiful houses. No? There's also the protection of the family. That is part of and the most important part of, I think so, of the home. Remember that one of the conventions link directly, no, the right to family and the right to home, because it's quite linked, it's quite united. It's incredible. It's more or less the same thing that we heard in this song. So as you can see, the right to home, we cannot find these lines now in the case law, in the jurisprudence of the international courts on human rights. We can say it's the same thing that we read previously, no? That the right to home includes, no, not just the relation with four walls, with a building, but also the relation with your people, no? With your people, and there is in some treaties, in some case law, a develop of the privacy, no? Privacy of the family. That is part, and in other places you can find privacy of the home. Well, it's also all these kind of things related. That's why it's so important, the theory of the interdependence of the human rights, specifically here, right to family, to privacy, to home, to many other things, Well, also to the basic needs, and it's called, and remember, some people used to put family as a basic need. It's incredible, no? So, we can finish with some cases just to check it, no? This is another nomad, but this is from the north of Canada, no? Well, they have one home. They have one kind of home. They put all their tools there, but not just the tools. They put also their heart in the land, and also in their community. There is a specific community, so the right to home should protect all these kind of things. It's not just to protect the tent. No, it's much more than that. Much more than that. Is the thing that they love. Yeah, that is more important even than the mere tent. Also the animals, the relation with the place. No, that is quite interesting. No, there's a case quite interesting in the European court that says that, well, a business premise could be in some sense included in the right to housing for the protection of privacy, for the protection of many other things, security, basic needs or basic service. So an office should have water, electricity, and many other things. So it is related. As you can see, the jurisprudence is increasing, broadening the notion, putting the scope of the notion of home or housing more. And it's not just the to have a shed. It's more than that. No, it's more than that. And they began to include many other things. I think that they should finally include even family. No? There's another quite interesting case. No, is related to the same-sex marriage. No, two sisters. No, they realized that the same-sex marriage got an incredible benefit from tax law. So they say, well, we are also two persons. We live in the same house. We love each other. So why don't get the same benefits of the law than people living and loving themselves? Well, so they asked to the government, and they asked not to put any kind of discrimination. But the European Court said, no, this is not the same. We are protecting what they are protecting. That is a good question. No? When they approve same-sex marriage, the law is not really interested in the feelings of the people. The feelings of the people could be good, could be bad, and most of the acts could be in the private sphere, just there. Why the state is really interested on family? Because they produce the children. Families produce children, the new generation. Without families, there will be no next generation. There will be no state, anything, no? Not because the feeling. There are some other case laws in the world that say, well, there are people living together. They are living, yeah, because they love or they don't, or whatever they want. No? Some people used to put more work at home, and another outside, no, working in a company, in an enterprise, and well, many times it's not the best thing that just one work and the other get the whole benefits of the law. So they have to protect also the people that are living in their home, and to protect, this is a phrase of many constitutions now in the world, no? The protect family work, no? The work in the family, the people that just live in the house to create a home, that is also a work, a grateful work. So they put, well, many times I think the thing that we have to approve is not just is not a new kind of marriage, that not, but to protect home and to give benefits specifically to the people that live in the same home. I think that case law, Burton versus the UK, was not so good at the end. I will say the people should protect. The same happened, for example, in many religious communities of nuns, monks. Well, they used to live together. They live a kind of family life. They have their home. Absolutely, they consider, they put the heart in the covenant, in the place, in the place that they live. They are living. So why we cannot protect this, given also some tax benefits? Well, if we give the same to the same-sex marriage, that's because they love, well, the other love each other, the sisters love each other too. No, I think that it's better to think this, no, to try to improve the notion of the right to home in order to protect more people and to protect more aspects of the home, precisely the home, probably the most important aspect of this notion. With this, I end my lecture today. I don't know if you have any questions, comments, or if not, we can finish. So, well, yes, Ali, for sure.
Thank you, sir, for a wonderful presentation. I hope you can hear me clearly and
Yes.
the connection is right. So my question is for you to claim the right to home as an individual. Can you claim it with the right to proprietorship of the home without having to live with any form of community, without having to live with any form of family, but solely as an individual? Would that still qualify you to claim that you have the right to that place as a home?
Yeah, Yeah, of course, of course. Why? Because you can repeat with Philip. Well, you can create with your will any place, your home. No, that is quite interesting. Probably you will feel the need of someone also, no? Because many times we can feel that we can keep safer our tools, no? And the best place to keep safer is with our loved ones. But in any case, yeah, the philosophers used to say that, by the way. I can mention, say yes, Yepes, Polo, that you can create with your will, your how, organizing a specific space to live in your way. Yeah, so you create with your will your home. So, and finally, that is a thing that is protected and should be protected by human rights. And it's already protected in many case law around the world. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, I don't know, I think that we can finish now. I don't know, what do you say, Rosalind?
Yes, I think we can conclude. So I hope everyone else has enjoyed the session as much as I have. Thank you so much, Dr. Juan, for availing yourself, and see you all for our last session of the series, which we'll announce in due time.
Perfect. Thank you so much to all.